Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around I decided to showcase my Arrow video collection. Um, I have a pretty sizable collection of Arrow titles that I've amassed over the years. It's not as big as other people. I don't collect everything from a particular label. If you're one of those people, that's awesome. I think that's really cool. But I only have so much money to throw around, and I've decided in terms of pretty much any label, even a label that I love like Arrow, that I'm just going to focus more on titles that I'm interested in or I've already seen and I already love, or titles that have special features that I think might be intriguing. Uh, so that pretty much crosses off a good chunk of titles from Arrow's um, listings. But that doesn't mean that I don't have a fair number of titles. And I've always wanted to do a video like this, just something fun to show a collection or a part of my collection. If this video turns out well, I'll probably do more of these on different Blu-ray distributors and labels. But yeah, without further ado, actually, yeah, actually, before I get into showing them, I'll give you a heads up on how I got them. I've gotten most of these through direct purchases through Arrow UK or Arrow US. I've gotten them through Zavi. I've gotten them through Amazon. I've gotten them as gifts that were sent to me by friends of mine that I'm very thankful for. And I've also gotten them secondhand on Facebook groups or in retail stores and stuff like that used. Most of my collection, though, comes from either Arrow themselves, Zavi, or gifts. So the rest of them, though, have been filled in various other ways. But Arrow usually has some really great sales around the holidays. So if you see any titles that interest you or anything that looks like it might be cool to add to your collection, odds are it'll probably be on sale if it's still in print during one of their sales. Zavi also has some decent deals if you want to deal with their shipping, which can be a little bit of a pain because they ship from the UK, and if you live in the US, that might take a while. Also, they tend to have this thing where they ship things individually. So if you're one of those people that wants something shipped to you all at once, that's usually not Zavi's bag. But yeah, Arrow Video is an awesome label, one of my favorite labels. They really do take a lot of pride and effort in their product, and they have branched out into numerous different genres, but for the most part, their most popular stuff is horror, sci-fi, cult, and when it comes to a distributor, I think they're honestly the best when it comes to their consistency of quality and the consistency of their releases. Shout Factory and Scream Factory, close second, really good, even though they've had some slip ups. They're still a really solid label. Vinegar Syndrome is an underrated label. They're starting to turn out some really good stuff lately. Second Sight is doing some good work. Kino Lorber is rising up pretty quick on the ranks for me for their affordability and for their wide selection of titles from different genres that Arrow normally doesn't even cover because they tend to focus more on cult, exploitation, horror, science fiction titles. So the first batch of Arrow titles I'm going to show is the box sets. And why not start with one of the first ones that I ever got? The limited edition set of Society. Now, this is one of the most disturbing releases that Arrow has done. It's fitting for the kind of film that Society is, But yeah, this is really freaky. This is a very freaky looking cover. This I believe is out of print. It's been out of print for a long time. The freakiness continues with the inside here. Um, yeah, it's a really trippy release. There's a card. It was like an invitation to the limited edition, and again with the creepy cover art, with the creepy artwork. It's so disturbing. It really is. But the film itself is pretty disturbing at times, so it's rather fitting. This has a DVD copy, but I sent it to a friend of mine, so I only have the Blu-ray. That will happen with some of these that I'm going to show you. So if, empty cases bothers you, I'm sorry, but I decided to be generous and give back to some of my friends. This is another book, a booklet. This is a comic book, actually. Yeah, this is the comic. I think this is like a sequel, or it's just a comic adaptation of Society. But yeah, I think it is some kind of sequel or something along those lines. But yeah, it's a really trippy, creepy release, but it's a really cool one though. I mean, it's definitely one of the more unique releases that you will find, and I think this has been out of print for a long time. So that's Society. The next one is their release of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, one of my favorite sequels, one of my favorite horror films from the 80s. This is actually my favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre film is Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. And this is a 3-disc set, which I believe is also out of print. It's got 3 discs. So the first disc is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It's got a remastered print for the time. The Arrow release is an older release, so the Scream Factory release does have a better transfer, but it doesn't have all of the features that this one does. Um, and this also has Toby Hooper's early works, so it has his debut feature, Eggshells, some short films that he's done, and some other interviews, different sort of documentaries that are on here. And it's just a really cool box set, though, as if you're a fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Keep in mind, also with Arrow, a good number of these titles are region locked. So if you do not have a region free player, you really aren't going to be able to watch them. So these would just be expensive paperweights. Um, and if you don't have a region free player, I recommend that you get one. I highly recommend spending the money and investing on a region free player because there's so many really great releases from Arrow and other distributors in the UK like 88 Films or 101 Films that you'll miss out on if you don't have a region free player. So this one, it's got a booklet here about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Got a bunch of photos and essays and interviews and stuff. And this, I believe, yeah, this is disc 1. Comes with a little card here, little mini poster. This is a limited edition, pressing number 3199, I guess. And this is what the disc looks like. And then there's the second disc and the third discs, which are in this case right here. And this is what that cover art looks like. It's got Chop Top on it. See, it's a really cool box set for Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Definitely one of my favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre sets that I have. So yeah, Arrow's out of print release of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Then we have the House Collection, which has all 4 House films. If you see any issues with the picture quality or the lighting in this video, I apologize. It's the best I could do. A lot of the extra boost that's coming from this video is artificial, so sometimes there's going to be a little bit of some washout. But this is the House Collection. So you have House, the first film, and you have the second one, the second story, and you also have House 3, the horror show. This has the uncut version of the film on it. And then you have House 4, the repossession. Now, this also comes with a limited edition hardbound book, the House Companion. And it has a bunch of interviews and photos and all kinds of cool stuff. That's another thing that really separates Arrow from the rest of the retailers is this kind of stuff. Like they are really, really top of the line. Really, really cool. So and with each house film, I'm just gonna show what the discs look like. House 4, the repossession. So it's just usually just a repeat of the cover art. These do have reversible sleeves where you can see the original poster art, but I actually really like the artwork that they made for this release, so I'm fine with just leaving it the way it is. In terms of all the specs and stuff like that, you can look those up online. I don't want to spend most of this video talking about how much features and what's on what and what is on what and so on and so forth. But this does have a lot. It's got HD restorations of each film. It's got commentary tracks. It's got documentaries. So, yeah, House Collection. I actually haven't checked out all of this yet. I really need to open the door and watch these and talk about them one of these days. So that's the House Collection. And here is one of my personal favorite box sets, an absolute lavish work of art, the Hellraiser Scarlet Box. This is such a just gorgeous box set by Arrow. This is one of the first box sets I purchased from Arrow. I think it was the first one. Now, for those of you who are a little adverse to damage, avert your eyes to this. But that's how it came in the mail. It opens up. It's a very unique box set in a multitude of different ways. So you have the front, you have the back, and it opens up like so. You see this right here, and it opens up like this. That's how the box set opens up. And then each release, because this has Hellraiser 1, 2, and 3, is housed in these cases. Kind of bland in terms of the cover art on the disc, but it's fine. So the first film has shot a Pinhead. The second film, Hellbound, if I could speak, sorry. I guess I was just so taken aback by this super blown up image of Chatterer. So this has Chatterer. This is the one for Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, and then Hellraiser 3 has I forgot who this was. I don't remember this character. It's been a while since I've seen Hellraiser 3, but there's that, and then there's a bonus disc here, which is the Clive Barker Legacy. That's a really cool bit of artwork right there. And here's another series of things. These are collectible, I think, art cards. So you've got one of Pinhead. You've got one here of Butterbean. I believe that's who it is. You've got Frank. Forgot the name of the female Cenobite. It's escaping me. I forgot the name of this Cenobite. Also forgot the name of this guy. It was Doctor something, if I remember correctly. Uh, and you have this. This right here is a lot of sketches, I believe by Clive Barker. Yeah, these are sketches by Clive Barker. So those are pretty cool. And there's a poster in here as well. I believe it's just a repeat of the artwork on the front. Yeah, that's what it is. It's just a repeat of the artwork on the front of the box. And then you have a hardbound book called Damnation Games. More essays, interviews, photos, discussions on the three films. Yeah, so really, really awesome uh box set. And then I also like this touch where they have this. You know, they didn't even have to go that extra mile, but you know, Arrow was like, fuck it. We're going that extra mile. I thought that was really cool that they went that extra mile with something like that. So yeah, this set is fucking awesome. It's also, I think, out of print and like crazy expensive nowadays. So glad I spent the money when I did on it because it wasn't that cheap then. But now, if you gotta pay scalper prices, you might as well have opened the Lamentation configuration box. Because you're about to get fucked. But yeah, the Hellraiser Scarlet Box with the first three Hellraiser films. The rest of these are box sets as well, but not in the same vein as those. These don't have as many discs, or actually, I think some of them do have just as many, but uh, they're a bit different in terms of how they're presented. But I'm going to start with the two Arrow Steel books that I have because I really don't have that many. I only have two. Um, so we have Demons and Demons 2. Now, I honestly forgot how and when I got this. It's been so long. I don't even know if I got this direct through Arrow or through some seller online because it just is really not coming to me. I don't remember how I wound up getting this steelbook. But I know that they're releasing a 4K edition of the first two Demons films. Uh, well, honestly, the only official Demons films, I think sometime this year in 2021. But for right now, I'm fine with this out of print steelbook. It's got some really cool cover art. I like the presentation of it. The picture quality on each of these is actually pretty solid for an older release from Arrow, and um, yeah, it's a pretty nice release. And comes with a little booklet here. Doesn't have as much writing in it as some of the other releases, but that's because this is a very early release from Arrow. But still really cool. And if you're a fan of the Demons series, this is a good steel book to get your hands on if you can find it, because I think that's another one that's out of print. And then we have my personal favorite steel book that I own in my entire collection. I don't have that many steel books. Arrow Video's release of Big Trouble in Little China. I absolutely adore this steelbook. I love how the iconic poster art is even more epic in this steelbook form. I love the color scheme with the red, the dark, the dark burgundy with the title. Um, it's a little banged up a little bit. Forgive me. I mean, I turned off my zoom, so you probably can't see the title. It's just a blurry mess. Um, yeah, I really like this release. I also have the Scream Factory release as well because it does have a new transfer. But as a enormous fan of this movie, this is honestly one of my favorite films. I definitely wanted to get this steelbook, and there's Jack Burton right there, front and center. And if you take the disc out, there is the villain, whose name I know I should know that the bad guy's name off the top of my head, but I got so many other things on my mind right now that it's just, it's actually not coming to me, and I feel like kind of Lopan. That's what it is. I was like, why the hell did that not come to me right away? But we've all been there. We've all been there. Where you're like, hey, I know what that is, but it doesn't come to you until later and you feel like a dumbass. So that's Big Trouble in Little China, the Steelbook release. The next ones here are the two 4K box sets I have by Arrow. They really upped their game here and dove into the 4K realm with flying colors and just did an amazing job with these releases. Flash Gordon, one of my all-time favorite movies. Yeah, it's corny, but it's supposed to be. And I grew up watching this on DVD, and this is the best the film has ever looked or sounded. This comes with another booklet. It seems like they've stopped to they aren't really making hardbound books anymore. They're focusing more on these. I will say this, if you compare these Arrow box sets to their older box sets, there's definitely a difference. It seems like they've spent a little less money on some things in terms of printing, in terms of the quality of materials, but it's still worth whatever price that you pay, because even though they spent a little less money, they still aren't skimping out entirely, and they still deliver an amazing product when it comes to their disc. I mean, I can't even think of a single instance when I've had to ask Arrow for a replacement disc because some audio was fucked up on one copy, or something was missing. They have amazing quality control. They do a really great job. And Flash Gordon, this is a really cool set. So you've got the first disc has the film. The second disc here has Life After Flash. Um, and I believe it's only a 2-disc set, but it's really all it needed to be. Then you have art cards here that are double-sided. So have ones that have Alex Ross's artwork for Flash Gordon, which is really just great. I love Alex Ross's art. It's an alternate poster for the film, and then there's another lobby card reproduction. I also really like this poster. think it's from an Italian release, I think. I think this film actually did pretty well in Italy, if I remember correctly. I don't remember this cover art. If you're a fan of this film, like this is a really cool set, and the 4K is amazing. It's the best the film has ever looked or sounded. Ton of different features, and just all around a really cool set. Just fantastic, fantastic box set by Arrow for Flash Gordon. Then we have Tremors, their 4K release. Another bang up, amazing job by Arrow Video. Um, this also has a booklet, has interviews and discussions and essays, photos. You got this, which I believe it's yeah, it's like a little anatomy of a graboid, and on the back it's got a sign, City Perfection. You got a poster, put on your wall. Sorry for any delays. Sometimes these box sets are really cool, but then sometimes they're also kind of a pain in the ass in terms of trying to put everything back. So we have Tremors. Really, another great release by Arrow. I would say this is one of the best releases from last year in 2020. You got a bonus disc, and you got this Walter Chang's Meat Market reproduction card, and just like Flash Gordon, you've got more of these double-sided cards, collector cards, that feature lobby cards on the back and poster art on the front. Although these, I think it's just, I don't know if there's any difference. I think, oh yeah, I think it's getting closer. I think that's what's happening. Like the Tremor's getting bigger and bigger, which that's an interesting bit of advertising. Like it's getting bigger and bigger and closer and closer. Or it's just the same, and I'm not quite picking up on the difference. Yeah, it's just the same. Well, that's a little disappointing. There aren't any alternate art bits of artwork for Tremors, just the same artwork. Eh, still really cool, and it's still a great release. You know, the extra goodies are fine and they're fun, but really what makes this worth it is the discs anyway. So, yeah, Tremors. And I'll just show this because it's the only other 4K that I have. Pitch Black. Uh, this was supposed to have a slipcase, but they had an issue with their manufacturer or the printer or something, and they couldn't get one made. So the only one that has a slip is the Blu-ray release. The 4K release doesn't have one. And this looks really good for a fan of Pitch Black. Good transfer. It's also a really good release. Comes with a booklet. With more writing and photos and all kinds of stuff like that for fans of the movie. And then We have RoboCop, the limited. If I could fucking speak. My apologies. I guess I just got too excited. It's RoboCop, and you know me. I'm such a huge fan of RoboCop. I mean, my channel's name is OCP Communications. I just couldn't help myself. But anyway, yeah, RoboCop, the Arrow Video Limited Edition. There was also a steelbook, but I wanted this because I wanted this kind of release where I could have it in this case with the original cover art. Now, yes, the features, there's not a whole lot in terms of bonus stuff. I've actually already talked about this release in a separate video. So if you want to see more of my thoughts on that, on the release, just type up RoboCop Arrow Video, and you should be able to find the video on my channel. Um, More lobby cards. They all have the same bit of artwork on the front. Alternate poster for the film. This one should have like a sound chip where you could play it and the guy goes, "Fuck me! Fuck me! Fuck me!" Or you could have a different version where it's the TV cut. Why me? Why me? Why me? And there's Ed. And the discs just have the title, the OCP logo, which, I mean, I'm definitely a fan of that. I'll buy that for $1. And then there is also a booklet with essays and interviews and photos and stuff on the making of the movie. About the themes of RoboCop and all that jazz. So yeah, RoboCop Arrow Video Limited Edition. Definitely well worth the price that you pay if you're a fan of the film. Then we have Creepshow 2 Limited Edition. This is actually a gift from a friend of mine. I love this a slipcase. It's just gorgeous. I know there's different versions. There's a different variant. There's another that's like purple. This one is red. And the usual Arrow clear case. Sadly, it's the end of an era for Arrow and their clear cases. I think their distributor and manufacturer is no longer around, or they're not able to provide them with the clear cases. So it seems like they're not going to have the same cases going forward, which sucks because these are really cool and I really like the design of them, but it is what it is. The discs are still going to be great. And this has another booklet. This isn't much of a booklet though. There's like one little essay, I think, like early on. Yeah, there's like a small essay in here. It's like 3 pages or something. It's not very long at all, and the rest is just photos. Well, actually, the essay is broken up by photos, but the biggest selling point of the limited edition is this comic, which is an adaptation of Pinfall, the segment that was originally going to be in Creepshow 3, but was taken out because of budget constraints and so on and so forth. So that's the biggest selling point of this limited edition is the Pinfall comic, and also this really awesome, sweet cover art. I just love the way this looks. It's just so cool. Then we have the Arrow Video limited edition release of An American Werewolf in London. Another one of my all-time favorite films. This release is absolutely spectacular. I know it's not the 4K release, but the transfer is still like really crystal clear. I don't really know if a 4K release would be that much of an upgrade, especially when you convert this 4K remaster to 4K. I mean, it's pretty much close to as good as you're going to get. And this has a new feature-length documentary that was, I believe, exclusive to the set, as well as the original documentary. Usual reversible cover art and lobby cards. With, I think, yeah, they have the same artwork repeated on the front, but just reprints of the original lobby cards that were used to promote the film in theaters. This is my favorite werewolf movie. I love it. John Landis is honestly, the more I read about him, kind of an asshole. But he did a good enough job directing this film. But really, the biggest selling point for this movie is the effects by Rick Baker and the performances by Griffin Dunn, David Naughton, and Jenny Agutter. So that's American Werewolf in London, but there's still more because there's a booklet. It's got more photos and I guess reprints of the original reviews and more write-ups. And it also comes with a poster. So yeah, American Werewolf in London. Arrow Video limited edition. And the last Arrow Video limited, for some reason, I'm just tongue-tied on that word. I'm limited in saying limited. So the last limited edition for this part of this collection, because I've quickly realized that I have so much that I'm gonna have to split this into two parts. So we'll end this particular part with Waterworld. This is honestly a really great and spectacular release. It's a wonderful release by Arrow. Even if you're not a big fan of the film, it's a great transfer of the movie. It's a 3-disc set. This is a limited edition set. So it's got 3 different cuts of the film. You've got the theatrical cut, you've got the TV cut, and you've got the Ulysses cut. And plus all the other bonuses that these limited editions come with. But one of the best things about this is the theatrical cut disc, because it comes with the feature-length documentary Maelstrom, which is about the making of the movie. And it's a really enjoyable, great documentary about the insanity of the production and everything. So you have disc 1 there, and then you have the second disc and the third disc that just repeat the cover art, which, that's okay. And speaking of repeating the cover art, once again, it's just a repeated poster image on the back of the lobby cards. And Waterworld, to me, it's actually a pretty good movie for what it is. It's got this reputation for being a box office bomb, but that's really not the case. It made a profit. It actually made a decent amount of money in home video and rentals and even worldwide. So despite the fact that it cost an unheard of amount of money at the time and it didn't make like bank in the box office in the US, as the years went by, it still made a profit. I think a better way to talk about Waterworld is that it's a disappointment, not that it's a box office flop, because it was not a box office flop. It was a box office disappointment, but it didn't bomb. And I don't know. I mean, I've always enjoyed Waterworld, even though even as a kid I thought it was a little bit too long. When I revisited it a while back, I still liked it. But I do feel it's a little bit too long. But it's got a lot going for it. The production and art design is some of the best you will ever see. Uh, they shot everything for real on the ocean. This is an undertaking that will never be tackled ever again in the history of cinema because no one is going to risk their actors and their crew on a shoot as dangerous and as insane as the shoot for Waterworld was. It's a minor miracle that more people didn't wind up hurt or lost at sea. That's how insane the production of Waterworld was. But when you see the film, especially in the 4K remaster, you see just so much that was put into it, and it's just a gorgeous film in a lot of different ways when it comes to its production design and its art direction, and the shots of the ocean and the stunt work is also amazing and really does bring up the adrenaline. There's a reason why there's a long running stunt show based on Waterworld at Universal Studios because it's a great film when it comes to its stunts. So it's not perfect, but for a Mad Max kind of apocalyptic film on the open seas, on the high seas, it's actually quite enjoyable and quite good. This is a booklet that has more artwork and write-ups on the film as well as the video game, which is interesting. So, yeah. On that note, that is it for this first part of my Arrow video collection. Stay tuned for part 2, where I will show the individual Arrow video releases, the ones that aren't limited edition box sets. Once again, there's that word limited. And until next time, I'll see you later. See ya.